She asked for a sandwich. They offered her spare change and a joke. Then her fingers touched the keys. You won't believe what happened next. The lobby of the Grand Marlowe Hotel. Can you smell it? Roasted coffee, expensive perfume, and, yeah, money. It practically drips from the crystal chandeliers that shimmer above plush velvet benches, where guests in perfectly tailored coats wait, probably for afternoon tea or to close some multi-million-dollar deal. This isn't just a hotel. It's a fortress of affluence, a gilded cage for the privileged. Then, the revolving door sighs, and a girl steps through. She's small, almost swallowed by a too-large army jacket, and she's carrying a plastic grocery bag that looks like it holds all her worldly possessions. But there's something else she carries, too. A quiet, almost fierce determination. Her sneakers are split at the toes, a silent testament to countless miles walked. Her dark curls, usually a wild halo, are twisted back with a broken pencil, a makeshift solution to a daily struggle. She takes a breath, one you can almost hear, and approaches the concierge desk, her voice surprisingly steady. Excuse me, ma'am, I haven't eaten today. If I play your piano for 10 minutes, could the kitchen fix me a sandwich? The concierge, a woman whose nameplate proudly proclaims, Mrs. Pemberton, blinks twice. It's a slow, deliberate blink, as if processing a language she's never heard before. Behind the girl, a couple, dripping with designer labels and disdain, snickers. It's a harsh, cutting sound in the otherwise hushed opulence. Play for food, the man echoes, his tone dripping with sarcasm. What is this, Oliver Twist? Are we expecting a musical number for a bowl of gruel? He even manages a theatrical sniff, as if the very idea offends his expensive sensibilities. The woman beside him, her perfectly manicured hand already lifting her phone, doesn't even bother to hide her amusement. Oh, this is gold, she murmurs, her voice a little too loud. I'm totally posting this. Caption it, homeless, hoping for handouts in 4K. Hashtag poverty porn. The flash on her phone blinks, a cold, clinical eye capturing the girl's vulnerability. The girl flushes, a deep crimson spreading across her cheeks, but she doesn't retreat. Not an inch. She repeats her request, this time softer, almost a whisper, but still firm. Just 10 minutes. That's all I ask. Mrs. Pemberton, recovering her composure, forces a polite, albeit strained, smile. It doesn't quite reach her eyes. I'm sorry, dear, she says, her voice a practiced purr of dismissal. The piano is for guests, valued guests at that. The implication hangs in the air, heavy and unspoken. You are not one of them. A businessman in line, whose suit probably cost more than the girl's entire life savings, taps his Rolex impatiently. The glint of gold is almost blinding. Look, some of us paid 12 grand for the charity gala package tonight, he huffs, his impatience barely contained. We'd like a little ambiance, not a busker. This isn't a subway station. He gestures vaguely towards the magnificent grand piano, sitting silent and majestic in the corner, as if it too might be contaminated by her presence. The girl's shoulders sag. It's a small, almost imperceptible slump, but it speaks volumes. She turns defeated towards the exit, her quiet determination now flickering. But the doorman, an older man named Luis, a gentle giant with kind eyes, blocks her path. Not unkindly, mind you. He leans in, his voice a low, gravelly whisper, conspiratorial and warm. The bench is open if you just sit and start, child. Worst they can do is stop you. They can't unhear it. She meets his eyes, a flicker of something new igniting in her own. A tiny spark of hope, perhaps, or defiance. She nods once, a quick, almost imperceptible movement. And then, before anyone else can react, before Mrs. Pemberton can issue another polite dismissal, before the socialite can snap another photo, she slips past the velvet rope. She moves towards the piano, a silent, determined shadow against the gleaming marble floor. A tiny rebel in a kingdom of gold. Gasps ripple through the lobby. It's a collective intake of breath, a sudden, shocked silence that momentarily replaces the low hum of conversation. A waiter, mid-pour, freezes like a statue, Chardonnay splashing, a silent crimson stain onto the pristine marble floor. The hotel manager, a man whose face usually wore a mask of unruffled professionalism, strides over, his cheeks blotching with a furious, indignant red. "Miss, you can't," he begins, his voice tight with barely suppressed anger. But his words die in his throat. She doesn't even glance at him. Her gaze is fixed on the piano. With a delicate movement, she lifts the fallboard, revealing the ivory keys beneath, gleaming like new snow, an invitation to a secret world. Her fingers hover for a moment, suspended in the air, a breath held before a plunge. From the mezzanine, a table of college guys, probably celebrating some minor academic victory in their tuxedo t-shirts, wolf whistle. It's crude, loud, and utterly out of place in this refined setting. "Play us Free Bird," one shouts, his voice slurred with too much champagne. Laughter, sharp and brittle, ricochets off the towering Corinthian columns, mocking her, echoing through the cavernous space. They think it's a joke. They think she's a joke, an heiress. Instagram handle @BinkySoiree, her phone a permanent extension of her hand, snaps photos with gleeful abandon. "Oh my God, this'll break the internet," she giggles, already composing her caption. When the help gets delusions of grandeur, seriously, who does she think she is? The sneer on her face is palpable. The girl closes her eyes, a silent prayer, a moment to gather herself. She exhales slowly, letting the noise, the ridicule, the judgment wash over her and then past her. She won't let it touch the music. First contact. A single D minor chord. It's fragile, almost hesitant, yet it's impossibly full, resonating with an unexpected depth. The room, however, doesn't notice. Not yet. The jokes keep flying. The snickering continues. A low, buzzing insult. "Bet $5 she pounds chopsticks," a socialite whispers, barely concealing her mirth behind a perfectly manicured hand. Her friend, not to be outdone, returns, loud enough for half the lobby to hear. "5? Honey, I'll bet the champagne brunch she bangs out heart and soul." You know, the classic talent show piece? More giggles. They're treating her like a cheap spectacle, a momentary diversion before their next expensive indulgence. The girl lets the D minor chord fade to a lingering silence, a tiny ripple in the cacophony of their judgment. Then her fingers move. They don't just move, they dance. She launches into a melody no one in that opulent lobby knows, a piece that has never graced a concert hall or a prestigious competition. It's an original nocturne, a lullaby her grandmother used to hum while shelling peas on the back porch of a tiny, forgotten house, a lifetime ago. Notes spill from the piano like dusk over water, restless and sweet, carrying the weight of memory and a quiet, profound grief. Conversations falter. The snickering starts to thin, like a receding tide. A few patrons still chuckle, but the sound feels hollow, out of place. It's like a dissonant chord in a suddenly harmonious piece. She leans into the keys, her body swaying almost imperceptibly with the music, becoming one with the instrument. Her right hand, a blur of motion, spirals upward in dizzying triplets, a cascade of sound that seems to defy gravity. Crystal glasses, forgotten on trays, tremble with the vibrations. The hotel manager's protest, which had been building again, dies in his throat, choked by awe. Phones that were raised to mock now hover, uncertain, their owners caught between ridicule and a dawning, unwilling fascination. Halfway through the first breathtaking crescendo, the lobby has quieted. Not just quieted, it's fallen utterly, completely silent. The only sounds are the piano, telling its story, and the faint, almost comical clack of a spoon, accidentally dropped by a bellboy who simply can't look away. Every eye, every ear, is now fixed on the girl, on the music pouring from her soul. The laughter is gone, replaced by a profound, almost reverent stillness. Her left hand rolls octaves, deep and resonant, like distant thunder rumbling on a summer night. The melody shifts, subtly, hauntingly, into G-sharp minor, an odd, aching key that feels like homesickness made audible, a profound yearning that touches something primal in everyone listening. Guests, who moments ago had been standing, gawking, or whispering, now find themselves seated, almost without remembering to sit. They've been drawn in, pulled down into the music's embrace. A financier, known for his steely demeanor and ruthless business dealings, lowers himself onto a plush chaise, his eyes glassy, unfocused. He hasn't heard his late mother's favorite hymn, subtly woven through a harmony like this, since childhood. It's a ghost of a memory, brought to life by the girl's fingers. The girl's body sways gently, a conduit for the music. She's not just playing notes, she's reliving a lifetime. She remembers her grandmother's stories, whispered late at night, of a Juilliard acceptance letter, crisp and promising, shredded by a jealous uncle who claimed with a sneer that women darker than mahogany don't belong on concert stages. A bitter legacy, a talent denied, now channeled through her. She remembers couch surfing at 15, the constant gnawing fear, the social worker who, seeing something in her eyes, snuck her into a practice room at the community college, pressing a key into her hand and saying, "Play until security kicks you out. Just play." She remembers the eviction that left her backpack, her meager belongings, and her precious sheet music under a bridge, the pages fluttering into the river like doves with clipped wings, each one a piece of her soul carried away by the current. All of it, every memory, every heartache, every moment of resilience, pours into the phrasing. Sforzando chords collapse into whisper-soft arpeggios, a tempest followed by a gentle rain. The music swells, a tidal wave of emotion, building to an unbearable intensity. At the crest, she holds a high B-flat, letting it ring, shimmer, and vibrate until the sound seems to pull light from the crystal chandeliers, transforming the very air. Then, with a breath, a sigh, she releases it, soft as breathing, letting the last note dissolve into the shocked silence of the room. Silence. It's a silence so profound, so absolute, you could hear a rose petal drop onto the thick carpet. No one moves, no one dares to speak. The air crackles with an almost unbearable tension, a collective holding of breath. Then a single clap, tentative, hesitant, almost apologetic. 1, 2, before stopping, the clapper unsure whether applause is classy or corny, appropriate or audacious. But the sound, however small, has already cracked the dam. A ripple starts, then swells, and then applause floods the lobby, thunderous, genuine, a roar of acknowledgement that shakes the very foundations of the Grand Marlowe. Phones which had been raised for ridicule now flip from photo to video mode. Not for mockery, but for proof. I was here. I witnessed this. Mrs. Pemberton, the concierge who had dismissed her so coldly, presses both hands to her mouth, her eyes wide with a mixture of shock and dawning shame. The heiress who had mocked her, at Binky Soiree, her cheeks now a furious crimson, frantically deletes the draft post from her social media, her carefully curated image suddenly shattered. The businessman who complained about the gala package, the one with the expensive Rolex, forgets to check his stocks, forgets his impatience. Instead, he quietly wipes his eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief, a single tear tracing a path down his weathered cheek. The girl lifts her palms from the keys, her hands suddenly trembling. She looks up, shy again, almost vulnerable after the storm of her performance. She stands, addresses the manager, her voice still soft, a little breathless, but brimming with quiet dignity. "Thank you for letting me play. I'll go now." He finds no words. His mouth opens, then closes. He's utterly speechless. But Luis, the doorman, his eyes shining with unshed tears, steps forward. "Child," he says, his voice thick with emotion, "you stay as long as you like. You stay as long as this hotel stands." From the balcony, an elderly woman in a black lace dress glides down the grand staircase, her posture regal, her presence commanding. Her silver hair is twisted in a perfect chignon, a masterpiece of elegance. A cane taps rhythmically on each step, but it seems ceremonial, an accessory rather than a necessity. She stops before the girl, her gaze piercing, intelligent, unwavering. "I am Professor Emerita Kira Volkova, from the Curtis Institute," she announces, her voice carrying a faint, elegant lilt of Kiev, cutting through the lingering applause. "Who taught you?" The girl swallows, her throat suddenly dry. "My grandmother," she manages, her voice barely audible. "She died last winter." Kira Volkova nods slowly, a profound understanding in her eyes. "She taught you well," she affirms, "exceedingly well. Do you read music?" "I teach myself from library scores, when they let me stay inside," the girl replies, a hint of the old vulnerability creeping back into her tone. The professor turns, her gaze now sweeping across the stunned hotel staff and the manager. "We will arrange a room," she states, her voice leaving no room for argument. "Tonight, and as long as this young artist needs, she will be a guest of the Grand Marlowe." She faces the girl again, a gentle smile gracing her lips. "After you eat, we talk. Full scholarship auditions for Curtis open in 6 weeks. You will apply, and you will be ready." Gasps echo through the lobby, louder, more astonished than the earlier laughter. "A scholarship? To Curtis?" The crowd, moments ago aloof, mocking, and judgmental, erupts in cheers, a spontaneous, heartfelt ovation. Phones now capture history, not just a performance, but a prodigy discovered, not in a grand concert hall, but under the scornful chandeliers of a five-star hotel. A testament to the unexpected places where true genius can be found. It's a moment that will forever change the trajectory of one young life, and, perhaps, the hearts of many others. The kitchen staff, alerted to the sudden, extraordinary turn of events, wheel out silver trays, laden with an impromptu feast. Miniature lobster rolls, glistening and delicate. Truffle grilled cheese triangles, golden and fragrant. Pear tartlets, sweet and perfectly browned. The girl, whose name we now learn is Amelia, eats slowly, almost cautiously, afraid the opulent spread might vanish like a mirage, a cruel trick of a hungry mind. Every bite is savored, a tangible confirmation of her newfound reality. Guests, transformed from a jeering mob into a reverent audience, form a polite, almost apologetic line, each eager to offer their own form of atonement. "I misjudged you," the financier says, his voice thick with genuine regret, offering his business card. "Call if you ever need, well, anything. Anything at all." It's a blank check of support, offered with humility. Binky Soiree, the heiress who had been so quick to mock, approaches, her voice small, almost a whisper. Could we take a photo together? I'd like to post the real story." Amelia hesitates for a moment, then nods, a flicker of a smile touching her lips. They pose, a stark contrast in their attire but united by the moment. The caption she posts later trends globally with the hashtag #PlayForFood, a viral sensation that captures the world's imagination. A local news crew arrives within the hour, their cameras and microphones descending on the hotel like a swarm of curious bees. The clip of Amelia's performance, raw and untamed, hits 1 million views overnight, then 10, then 50. Comments flood in from every corner of the internet. "Reminds me why I loved piano. Never judge a book by its cover, or a prodigy by her jacket. Someone start a GoFundMe for her debut album." The world is captivated, inspired by her talent and her story. But Amelia's focus remains narrow, unwavering. She finishes the sandwich, every crumb appreciated, every server thanked by name. Her gratitude is genuine, not performative. Then, she follows Professor Volkova to a quiet salon, a sanctuary away from the clamor. There, a magnificent Steinway Model B waits, its polished surface reflecting the soft lamplight. They play through Chopin's Ballade No. 1, teacher and prodigy, their fingers weaving a tapestry of sound, trading phrases, conversing through the music, until the first delicate pink of dawn touches the windows. It's not just a lesson, it's a communion, a passing of a torch, a bridge built between two souls across generations and circumstances. By sunrise, The story isn't just local news. It's on every major feed, every digital billboard, every morning show. The hotel's PR team, quick to pivot from potential scandal to undeniable triumph, donates $10,000 to a homeless youth arts nonprofit, a tangible gesture of goodwill. A violin maker from Oregon, moved by the story, ships a custom, handcrafted case to Amelia, so she can safely store her future sheet music, a symbol of the community rallying around her. A librarian, inspired by Amelia's self-taught dedication, tweets a thread of practice rooms nationwide that welcome homeless musicians, sparking a movement of inclusivity. The conversation shifts, dramatically, from a single, stunning performance to systemic gaps in society. Why, people began asking, must talent be so exceptional for someone to earn basic dignity? Why did a sandwich hinge on sonatas? Why do we wait for a miraculous performance to see the humanity in those less fortunate? These questions, once whispered, are now shouted from headlines and social media feeds. Talk show hosts, sensing a ratings goldmine, invite Amelia to appear to tell her story. She politely declines, however, until after her Curtis auditions. "I still need to earn my place," she explains, her humility as striking as her talent. She refuses to be a spectacle, choosing instead to focus on the hard work ahead. Across the country, music teachers, looking for ways to engage their often restless students, play the grainy lobby footage. Listen to how she voices the inner lines, they instruct. Feel the rubato, the way she makes the music breathe. Kids who once rolled their eyes at scales and arpeggios now lean in, captivated, inspired by a girl who turned hunger into harmony, a symphony of survival. She became a living, breathing testament to the power of passion. On the street where she used to sleep, on the very park bench that was once her bed, neighbors leave flowers, small tokens of respect and admiration. A Sharpie-scrawled sign appears, taped to the back of the bench. "You mattered before the keys. You matter after." It's a simple message, but it speaks volumes, acknowledging her inherent worth, regardless of her circumstances. It reminds us all that dignity isn't earned by achievement, but is intrinsic to every human being. If this story hit you the way it hit me, if it made you pause, made you think, maybe even made your eyes well up a little, then do me a favor. Share it. Share it with someone who could use a reminder that greatness hides in the most overlooked corners, in the most unexpected people. And hey, next time you see a kid hovering near a piano, or any instrument for that matter, don't assume it's just noise. Don't assume they're just messing around. Maybe, just maybe, invite them to play, encourage them. You never know whose life you'll change with that simple gesture. It might even be your own. The ripple effect of kindness, after all, is just as powerful as the ripple effect of music. 6 weeks later, Amelia stands before the formidable faculty panel at Curtis, her fingers trembling just a little, but her spirit resolute. This isn't a hotel lobby. This is hallowed ground. They ask for Beethoven, a demanding sonata that tests technique and interpretation. Then, a surprise. Bill Evans, requiring a completely different touch, a jazz sensibility she'd honed in the quiet hours of library practice rooms. Finally, a sight reading of an atonal, complex mess that would trip up even seasoned professionals. She breathes, remembers the lobby laughter turning to hushed reverence, remembers Luis's kind eyes, and dives in. Each note she plays carries the weight of every door slammed in her face, every "you don't belong," every coin dropped into her outstretched hand without eye contact. It's a performance steeped in a lifetime of struggle and triumph. She finishes. The panel doesn't speak at first. The silence is excruciating. Yet she stands tall, knowing she's given everything. Then, one adjudicator, a stern-faced woman known for her uncompromising standards, smiles. A genuine, warm smile. She says simply, "Welcome." Amelia exits into the hallway, a new spring in her step, where Luis, on a busman's holiday, having taken a day off to support her, waits with a bouquet of slightly crushed supermarket carnations. He doesn't need to ask the result. Her face, radiating pure joy, sings it. They walk out together. Past marble columns, not unlike the hotel's, past students clutching instrument cases worth more than Amelia's childhood home. Outside, the spring sun warms the pavement, a gentle benediction. A city bus rattles by, its ad space plastered with her silhouette, captured from that viral video. Play for food, play for life. A nonprofit, inspired by her story, bought the slots to promote music outreach programs for underserved youth. She'll start classes in September, a full scholarship plus a generous stipend. Professor Volkova, true to her word, found her a tiny studio apartment 2 blocks from campus. Nothing luxurious, certainly not the Grand Marlowe, but it's hers. The door locks, the radiator clanks with a comforting rhythm, and the building manager, charmed by her story, promises a practice room key for the communal piano. On move-in day, she unpacks her meager possessions. 2 changes of clothes, a well-worn toothbrush, and the plastic grocery bag that now holds her grandmother's crumbled, cherished photo, and a single dog-eared page of handwritten music. She pins the photo above the upright piano, a sturdy, slightly out-of-tune instrument, donated by strangers who watched a grainy lobby video and, somehow, just believed. Evenings, after long days of classes and practice, she walks to the shelter where she once queued for dinner, her own hunger now a distant memory. She carries Tupperware of spaghetti, Tupperware of hope. Kids gather around a battered keyboard, their eyes wide with curiosity. She teaches them middle C songs, then, when they're ready, sneaks in Bach inventions, simplified and playful. They absorb it all like sponges, their faces lighting with the same spark that carried her through eviction nights. Word spreads like wildfire. Volunteers show up with more instruments. A clarinet appears, then a cello with a cracked neck, lovingly repaired by a retired luthier. The shelter starts Thursday recitals, a weekly celebration of sound. Local journalists, drawn by the heartwarming story, dub it Symphony for the Soul. One boy, Malik, age 9, his small hands already strong, tells her, his voice brimming with conviction. When I blow my horn, I'm not homeless, I'm home. Amelia ruffles his hair, a profound thought forming in her mind. This, she thinks, this is the real stage. Back at Curtis, professors marvel at her work ethic. She practices until security, used to her late-night sessions, gently kicks her out at 2 a.m. Then, she sneaks into the digital lab to compose, headphones cocooning her in galaxies of sound, sketching out melodies that blend her past and present. Her first semester jury arrives. She presents a trio that fuses Ukrainian folk melodies, the powerful harmonies of gospel, and the intricate polyrhythms of West Africa. The committee raises eyebrows. It's unorthodox, certainly not traditional, but they can't deny the architectural brilliance, the sheer emotional force of the piece. One professor, visibly moved, remarks, "Amelia, you're not just playing notes. You're telling us where you've been. You're telling your story." She nods, remembering the hotel chandelier reflecting in the polished lid of the grand piano, remembering the laughter turning to silence, turning to possibility. Summer arrives, and she's invited to Tanglewood, the prestigious music festival. She plays alongside prodigies who grew up with private teachers, summer camps, and instruments worth small fortunes. She still owns 1 pair of concert blacks, a thrift store find she tailored herself with YouTube tutorials. Her new friends, all from privileged backgrounds, tease her gently. "Girl, you need new threads. Seriously, we'll take you shopping." She laughs, a genuine, joyful sound. "Nah," she says, shaking her head. "These got me here. They're staying." She practices in the shed, windows open to the warm summer air, fireflies blinking syncopated rhythms in the twilight. One night, a legend, Yo-Yo Ma himself, wanders past, drawn by the music. He listens, captivated, then compliments her phrasing, her unique voice. She calls Luis on FaceTime, waves the cello legend into the frame as if it's no big deal. Luis, on the other end, wipes away tears, his voice choked with emotion. Remember when you just wanted a sandwich? He asks, his voice trembling. They both laugh, a deep, heartfelt sound, until their ribs ache, a shared memory of a turning point. Articles brand her the lobby prodigy, a catchy headline, but she prefers just Amelia. She uses her platform sparingly, strategically. She testifies before City Council about the critical need for arts funding for underserved communities. She writes op-eds on housing first initiatives, giving a voice to the voiceless. She performs benefit concerts where ticket sales buy instruments for shelters and community centers. She keeps her Instagram humble, practice clips, goofy cat memes, the occasional selfie with Malik's trumpet section. Sponsors court her, eager to attach their brand to her inspiring story. She signs only with companies committed to donating gear to youth music programs. I'm not a brand, she tells a slick marketing VP, her gaze unwavering. I'm a reminder of what we overlook and what we can achieve. Senior year approaches, bringing with it the daunting task of a senior recital and a new work. She chooses a theme, one that resonates deeply with her journey. Shelter. The composition opens with discordant clusters, jagged and unsettling, evoking the chaos and uncertainty of urban homelessness. Then slowly, it resolves into a tender, haunting lullaby her grandmother hummed while rocking her through those terrifying, lonely eviction nights. She invites everyone who witnessed her transformation. The hotel manager, Mrs. Pemberton, the heiress, the financier, even the college jokers who shouted, "Free bird!" They sit in the front row, not as critics but as witnesses, their eyes shining with emotion. Midway through the performance, video screens display footage of the Thursday shelter recitals. Kids, once forgotten, now clutching violins like lifelines, their faces alight with the joy of making music. The audience weeps openly, unashamed. At the finale, she invites them on stage, Malik, the entire shelter crew, Luis in his crisp doorman coat. They stand together amidst thunderous applause, a community stitched by sound, a testament to the power of connection and shared humanity. Graduation day arrives. Amelia receives the Student Composer Award, the first from a homeless background, a truly historic moment for Curtis. Reporters swarm her, asking about her plans, her future. She smiles, a radiant, confident smile, and answers, "I'm going to start a mobile academy, a converted school bus, filled with instruments, driving to shelters, teaching kids to play for food, for hope, for whatever they need." Within days, a GoFundMe campaign, launched by Professor Volkova and Luis, surpasses its goal by tenfold. A used bus is purchased, painted sky blue. "Play for food," emblazoned in swirling, hopeful letters across its side. She'll spend the next year on the road, her itinerary dictated by letters from shelters requesting visits. She keeps her requirements simple, clear. Feed the kids first, always. Then music. Empty bellies can't keep tempo, she laughs, a wisdom beyond her years. Back at the Grand Marlowe, the magnificent piano she first touched now holds a small, elegant plaque. "Play for food, play for life." Inspired by Amelia, a reminder of the music in us all. Guests regularly drop donations in a crystal bowl atop the lid. The monthly proceeds fund her academy's gas money, keeping the music rolling. She returns annually for a special concert, a pilgrimage of sorts. For this event, the lobby furniture is cleared, the expensive rugs rolled up, and everyone, bellboys, billionaires, at Meta, Sex 0.05, breakfast chefs, sits cross-legged on the cool marble floor. There are no tickets, just bring canned goods. By midnight, the pile of food reaches the concierge desk, a towering cairn of compassion, built by music and empathy. Sometimes late at night, under a sky full of stars, she still can't quite believe the journey from that first awkward chord to a bus full of instruments, a symphony on wheels. Nights before big performances, she walks the city streets, finds the park bench where she once slept, a silent witness to her past. She sits there, presses her palms together, and whispers a thank you to the grandmother who taught her middle C on a toy keyboard, powered by flashlight batteries. She remembers the laughter in the lobby, remembers the thunderous applause. But most of all, she remembers the silence, the profound, breathtaking moment when sounds suspended and souls shifted, when the world paused to listen. She vows to carry that silence wherever she goes, a pocket of hush, reminding her that music is not an escape from reality, but an entry into dignity, into community, into the long, long promise that everyone, absolutely everyone, deserves a stage. So, here's the real takeaway, what I hope you carry with you. Talent doesn't reside in zip codes, or tailored suits, or trust funds. It lives in the kid who dares to ask, with quiet courage, "Can I play for food?" It lives in the unexpected places, in the overlooked faces. Share this story. Drop a comment below about who you'll encourage today, whose hidden potential you'll try to see. And if you're able, support your local shelter's arts program. Because every single time we choose music over mockery, every single time we choose empathy over judgment, we tune the world a little closer to harmony. And honestly, isn't that a beautiful sound?